118-mile march that we made that Don talked about. I don't think that any military organization in the United States will ever equal that. I understand now that the Marines limit their marches to 27 miles per day, and the Army is less, something like 22 or 24 miles per day. We went 118 miles in 3 days, and on the fourth day they dressed us in Class A uniforms, and we marched from Oglethorpe University to downtown Atlanta train station. I'm not sure how long it was, but probably 10 or 15 miles. And that is a record that probably will never be equaled by anybody in the United States military from now on.
Specifically, what was it like jumping out of the plane for the first time?
Your very first jump out of a plane, what was it like, John?
Well, it's like anything else. The first time, you're nervous. But it really, I think the first one didn't bother nobody that I knew of. The first time was just a little, well, I wonder what it's going to be like. And it wasn't what I thought it would be, where you'd be scared to death and all. I thought it was the best jump I ever made, and it really was tremendous, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing. But as you went on and jumping, there was certain conditions that prevailed, and you were in a plane at the time. You always said to yourself, especially a night jump, you would be sitting there looking at guys, and some of them didn't know how to hold the conversation because they were a little more nervous than others. But yourself mentally was saying, oh, they may doubt it, I don't know. Maybe it didn't bother them. But I know I said a few times, what the hell am I doing up here? 2 o'clock in the morning? I could be back home getting a couple beers in a joint where they serve you when you're under 21. But the law of Pennsylvania is 21 years of age. But we had a drink we can go into and have a few cold ones. And but that used to run through my mind. What the hell am I doing up there? And some of the guys wanted to say the same thing, I think, but never did. But no, I think it was just the American way, that something you didn't do before. But no, there was no fear of jumping. It was so well put together, and as Malarkey said, the training was great, and if you didn't do what you were told, that's when you got hurt. So I can honestly say they did a hell of a job of getting that many airborne guys together, paratroopers, in such a short time, and they surpassed the German paratroopers, who were supposed to be the world's elite, and I just think it was wonderful. I'm glad that I did what I did, because the feeling's still there. I would love to make one more jump before I sail, but I don't think it'll happen. I got a bad back, new knees, every other goddamn thing.
First of all, gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming and visit us today and share your history with us. You've had 65 years to look back on what you did in World War II. Myself and a lot of other veterans that have followed you have looked at you in awe and what you guys did. And I wondered if you had anything that you'd like to say to the young men and women serving today, any advice you'd like to give them.
I don't have any particular advice except that to believe in your country and what our values are and what we've done in the past. And the one thing that you must remember that in all of the time that we've sent armies overseas to different places, it never was to acquire land. We don't own a damn thing, but we provide the freedom and peace for oppressed people from throughout the world, and that's the greatest thing that we do.
I have a quote. This is a quote. Don't call yourself a paratroop soldier until you jump at midnight into enemy territory, the enemy shooting at you, and carrying about 100 pounds of equipment on you. When you do that, then you call yourself a paratroop soldier. That's a quote.
But I think the kids nowadays, I think, faced with the same situation that we were faced with, they'll do the same thing. I've got a lot of faith in our servicemen today. I think they'll do what they have to do.
Well, I'd like to suggest that this country needs what has generally been referred to as universal military training. I'm an advocate that every male student, when they get out of high school, should spend 2 years in the military, compulsory, and be assigned to a discrete unit, which would make rapid mobilization better down the line, somewhat like they have in England and Europe. I just think we ought to have every male student right out of high school ought to have the experience and make a better citizen out of them. And I'll tell you, in my case, it made a better student out of them. A far better student after I got out of the service and went back to college than I ever was before. I was more mature, had a little better grasp of the outside world. So in short, I'm a big advocate of this universal military training. I think it would be of great help to young men of this country as well as to the country. That's my take on it.
For those of you that may not know, I believe that Buck went to law school after the war and convicted Sirhan Sirhan. For those of you that didn't know that.